Welcome back to Amberg Acres. I've talked about this in a couple of videos over the summer here, that I wanted to make a new stand for on top of the Pablo stand over there instead of the hunting blind, the pop-up hunting blind I was putting on there. So today is the day we're going to get started on that. So I cut all these 2x4s, and they're not actually 2x4s, they're like 1.25 inches by 3.5. And I did that to cut down on the weight. I'm using a 2 3/8 ring shank nail, so that won't go through, right? Because I'm at, what am I at? 2.5 inches basically. So that won't go through. And that's what we're going to nail this together with. So I went over there and measured. My dimension east and west is 67 inches. My dimension north and south is 70 inches. So this would basically be a side panel. So I cut one of the verticals at 6'6", and I cut the other vertical at 7 foot. And once I get this nailed together, I will show you how that looks at the end. And then we'll cut a piece at an angle for the roof to fit in there. So let's get this nailed together, and we'll get going on it. I got to make basically 4 panels. The windows, I went and measured my other blind that I made. The bottom of the window is at 39 inches. So we're going to have to put these second 2 cross members are going to be at 39, and whatever. I got to go look at my plastic and see what I got for plastic. But whatever the plastic ends up being, that's how wide I'll make the window. Okay? So none of this has to be really fancy or anything. As long as I get these first 2 corners square, I cut all my pieces perfectly to length, so I should be good to go as I go up. So now that I have my 2 bottom corners relatively square, I have to establish my 39 inches for the bottom of the window. So the way I made the other windows, I made them flip up, and then I also made the glass so it slides. So I'm going to try and do it that same way, because I really like that, because when it's hot out, I can flip that whole thing open and it gets a little more air coming through than just sliding the glass open. So we're gonna try that. What I'm going to be doing is adding like a 2x6 on the bottom here, okay? And that's how I'm going to screw it down into the platform out there. So I need to take 39 inches minus 1.5 inches for this next board and mark it. Alright, that is the bottom of my window. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to go look for my plastic. That'll determine where I put that other board. Okay, so it looks like I'm getting kind of low on my plastic scraps, but I found enough here to make 3 windows. So this is my narrowest one right here, this piece here. So that's what I'll make the window to be then. That wide. Alright, so that is, what is that? About 9 inches. That's plenty to shoot through, plenty to see through. So I'll make it 9 inches, and then I'll make a frame around it so that the plastic can slide, but then I can flip that frame open. So let's figure out our dimension for this other board. and then we got to do the top board, and then this panel is almost done. I'm going to do 2 more verticals here, right on each side of the window, and then that's what I'm going to nail my siding to when I do the siding later on. All right. So if that's 9 inches, I'll make my frame. I'll make this opening 12. So then when I flip that open or down, then I have a big 12-inch wide window when it's warm out, early season hunting. I think that's what I'm going to go with. So let's mark those and get these nailed in. Alright, so that's nailed in. So I will make, this is actually the outside. So I will make that the actual window frame later on once I have the walls up and put together. But I needed this just to kind of give me a number. Then the other dimension, the other way, my smallest set here is going to be about 25 inches. So I marked the center line, and I am going to go 13 inches, so that gives me a 26-inch open. So when I make that frame, that'll cover that opening. So the next thing we have to establish then is this top board here. So if I go from corner, so basically comes out to about 67.5. So let's go cut a couple of boards for that. So basically all I'm doing is I'm lining up the top corner on the outside of this, the shorter piece, and then the top corner on the inside of the longer piece, okay, of the 7-foot side, and this is the 6'6" side, okay. That way that gives me a straight edge to lay my roof on when I put the roof on top. And none of this matters here. None of this will be seen. This corner here will not be seen. All right? So all I really have to do is I have to trim off that little bit of a corner right there. That's all I got to do is trim that off when I put the siding on. So that's what we're doing, nailing that. That gives me my pitch. If you stand back here, hopefully you can see that it's at a pretty good angle for the water to run off. 6'6" is plenty high for me to get in and out with a door on there. So that's the way we're building it. Nice thing about working with green lumber is it doesn't split. You drive these nails in, they go sink right in there. So now I need to measure for these other 2 vertical uprights. And then once I have them on, I need to fill in that gap. So I'm going to fill in that gap at the top, and I'm going to fill in that gap with short pieces, okay? And that's just to try and keep mice and whatever from crawling up through there. Because of my siding will go on these outer of these boards. So there will be a gap there if I don't fill that in, okay? So let me measure these other 2 boards quick here. So like I always say, none of this has to be perfect. I just got my 2 marks on there that I marked before, and that's where I'm nailing this piece in at. Like that. Let's get the other one lined up. Right, so I am just gonna cut these 3 boards on the bottom, and a board for here, and a board for here, And that's so that I have something to nail my siding to as I go around that window. And that's it. This side will be done. And we will make the frame and the window later on. So we'll just get the 4 sides put together and put up, basically. So I will come back when I get to putting the siding on this panel, okay? Okay guys, I realized when I was editing my video that I missed a whole section, or I lost the video basically. I know I filmed it, or I was trying to film it, and that was when I was putting the siding on. So I'm going to just kind of piece this in here. This is the next panel, but I'm just going to piece this in here how I did put the siding on. So I pre-cut all these pieces. So these pieces I made on the sawmill, and they're a 1/2 inch thick, and they're just whatever length or width that the log gave me, okay? So this is the same type of siding I cut for the barn. The only difference is this is going to be exposed to the elements, where the stuff inside the barn is just going to be inside the barn. It's not going to get wet or nothing. So that's the only difference between it. So I stain this after it's done. I stain it, and I use a black stain. And the reason I'm using stain is because it really soaks into this wood, and that's the only reason I'm using it. It's not any cheaper than paint. They're about the same right now. If you go price, you know, a gallon of paint, the stain is up there $40. So is a gallon of paint. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm putting this on, and I'm leaving this 2x6 on the bottom here goes bolts to the top of the deck, right? So I'm leaving about 1 inch overhang, so that when I swing that in there, I can bring that in and butt that up against, then screw it down to the deck. So I pre-marked the ends here where I need to be. Okay, so I have a mark there and a mark down here, and that looks good right there. And then we're just going to leave 1 inch. So this first piece gets nailed on flat. Alright, so if you watch Sawing with Sandy, it's a good channel to watch. He built a cabin out of rough sawn lumber, green lumber. And one of his tips on there was when you're putting this stuff on, you look at the board and you're supposed to put the bark side down. So your arcs are this way, right? So you put your bark side down, and then when that board cups, it cups against the boards and doesn't curl up on you, okay? So that's one of the tips. Go on his channel and watch some of the stuff he did. It was really informative. So the second piece now overlaps, okay? This piece is on flat. Then when this one overlaps, it makes it look like lap siding, you know, that people have on their houses, cedar siding. And it's the exact same technique I'm using inside the barn. If it don't work here, it's not going to work there, I guess. But the reason I'm doing 1.5 inch overlap here is because I'm putting a nail right there. And that holds the top of the one below it, and it holds the bottom of the one above it. And that's how I'm doing it. Just like that. So then when I get up to the window here, wherever I end up, I just notch that out, and then I make some short pieces. So I'll go cut these up here, get a few more cut, and staple these on. I am up to the window now, and all I do is I put this piece on so it overlaps the window a little bit. I just take my jigsaw and cut it out. Hey, just like that. Then I just add these little pieces until I'm past the window. It's usually 2 of them. Takes 2 pieces. So I'm doing the same overlap, 1.5 inches. Just like that. Now the next piece, it's going to be more than 1.5 inches, but I come right down to the top of the window. And that way I don't have to cut nothing. I just come right down to the top of the window, and that's where I put it. Right? So that one's going to look a little skinnier than the rest of them, and that's, who cares, right? All right, I got to go cut some more pieces. What do I need? About three more long ones and 2 more short ones, I think. All right, we're on the last piece here, and this last piece is just going on there. Whatever it ends up being, it ends up being. So it's a I don't know, it's 8-inch piece or something, 9-inch piece. Yeah, a little under 9 inches. So I'm just lining it up to the top. And then whatever this one ends up being, that's whatever it is. It's good enough for the deer. They don't know the difference. So that is it for framing it in. The only other thing that I did, and I don't know if it was on any of the other video, but I make a board for right here. This one's too short, but I'll use it to go in this way. So I make a board right here like a windowsill. And that's just to close up the gaps there, so birds and bugs and whatever don't fly in. And then I caulk it. So I'm going to go cut these pieces and get them stapled in. Last 2 pieces for this panel. So you can do this either way. I put the short ones in first because I had some laying here. And then I went, measured, and went and cut the longer ones. But you could do the longer ones first and then put the short ones in. It probably would be almost better to have the longer ones in because your water wouldn't run in there. But I'm caulking this and stuff, so it'll be all right. Just like that. So there's your finished product. Nothing hard to do. I gotta let this dry. This wood is really wet from the rain we just had. So I'm gonna let this dry for a day or so before I try painting it, because otherwise the paint ain't gonna stick. So that's about it for now. Okay, first side is done. I put a little 3/4 inch frame around the window and I caulked it in good now. So now we're gonna stain this. We're gonna stain it black, and then we'll put our camouflage on it. Okay, after the stain is dry. So this side is done. We got to get a second side made, just the mirror image of it. So we'll get that up. And what I'm thinking, because none of these boards really measure 1.5 or 3.5. Okay, I just sawed them to whatever my piece gave me. All right, and it's good enough for a project like this. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put these 2 sides up over there first, and then measure my inside dimensions before I make the 2 end panels. I think that's the best way to do it, because otherwise it's not going to fit correctly over there. And I think that's going to be my best bet. So we're going to let this caulk dry. We're going to get the other side done, and we'll let you know when we go over there to hang these up. Alright guys, so I took the other one out and I put it up there on the hill, and I covered it with a tarp for the time being. And I made the second side, the mirror image of the other one. I went ahead and stained this one right away before I caulked it, and so now it's caulked and stained and it's ready to go. I just got to do a little camouflaging on it, so I'll do that tomorrow, and then I'll show you what that looks like after I have it camouflaged. If things dry out a little bit. we're finally getting some rain here that we really desperately need. So I don't know how much we're gonna get. It's supposed to rain tomorrow too, scattered thunderstorms and stuff. So I gotta go pick some leaves and whatever to do my camouflage thing that I do. We'll see. It might be 2 days from now before I get out there and do that. Okay guys, this is how we're camouflaging it. I just went and cut down a whole bunch of leaves. And we just move them around the board. And we start using different colors. So I first went on there with green, and I used like fern branches. Okay, not fern, balsam branches. They're kind of a flat needle. And that just kind of puts that green on there on top of the black. And now I'm going around, this is a flat yellow or a satin yellow. So we're using that now. I just kind of spray a circle around that leaf like that. And you just do different patterns until you get all the way around it with the yellow. Then you come back, and I got a couple different shades of green. I got some red. And this all depends where you hunt, what type of leaves you use. Oak, maple. I got some ferns here. I got some, I believe the other one is a beech. And I don't know what this other one is here. I think that's a, let's see. I should know that. I had them in at the other house. Basswood. Okay, that was yellow. So now we're going to do a little, this is just primer, red. Get some red in there. And then the 2 shades of green go on the top, because that'll kind of dull the other colors off. And we just keep moving the leaves around in a nice little pattern. So you're not trying to coat the whole thing. You're just trying to put blotchy colors of paint on there, and the leaves break it up. They let the black and the other yellow colors show through the color you just sprayed. So I'm just kind of going around the outside of each leaf like that, just so that it makes a pattern. So where this stand is going to go, it is primarily green. It's spruce. It's going to be right in, it's actually right in the middle of a couple of spruce trees. So that's why I'm finishing it with the green last, because I want it to be more of a green tone than the other colors, because everything behind it is just going to be dead. By the time hunting season comes around, it's going to be dead trees, you know? So I'm going to finish it with green. Do a couple, I got I got a little bit of brown and some tan, and then I got 2 shades of green for over the top. And that's how I'm going to finish this out. So I'm going to keep spraying, and I'll show you the finished product in a little bit. Alright guys, every color of the rainbow, right? Yeah, no, you'll never see that here. But I think this will blend in really good out there. And like I say, it's whatever you have for trees, that's the kind of colors you're trying to match. So when you go pick out your colors, pick out what your woods looks like in October, basically. I finished with the greens, with the off-color greens, and that's where this is sitting, is going to be green, more green than brown probably. The background is brown, but the front is green. We're going to get the other side done. And then we're going to go hang these up tomorrow, or whenever I get, probably be 2 days, because I got to paint that and let that dry. So it'll probably be 2 days, and then we'll get these hung up, and we'll get the other panels made. I really don't think you can make it fit much better than that. I hope the rest of them go that easy. All right, we'll try and get the next one, the next lift on camera. I forgot to turn the camera on, so I apologize. But let me just show you quick what I did there. So what I did here is I left this bottom piece of paneling, siding, I left it like an inch or so longer so that I had something to butt up against, all right? And I can go up there and maybe throw a couple nails in or something so that that doesn't curl up on me. But then I made this section the full length of the platform, and then the next section will go in between those 2x4s there, so then the siding will stick out about 2.5 inches or so, and just will come up and just tack it on there, you know, and that'll help hold the structure together and everything. And I think it looks pretty good. So let's back up here a little bit. I don't know, I think the colors turned out pretty good. I think the other panel that I'm going to bring over in a little bit, I think that's a little more green. Whatever, everyone turns out a little different, you know. I think that's going to look great up there. And then from the front side, walk around to the front side here. So you see what I mean? The front side is in the evergreens here. So I think that'll blend in. I think that'll blend in awesome. That they'll hardly even see that up there. The only place they can really see it is from that back side over there. All right, so let's hope the next panel goes up just as easy, and we'll get going on that. So quick update on the field. It is almost Labor Day weekend, and we finally got some rain. We probably got a little over an inch maybe-ish, so I'm hoping that makes that seed grow. Right now it doesn't look like anything but weeds are growing because it's been so hot and dry. And that's what really sparks the weeds to take over. There are some little shoots right here. I don't know if you can see those little shoots. Here's a pea. Right here's a pea. Okay? So they are growing now. They did shoot up a little bit. Whether or not they'll hit their full potential by hunting season, I don't know. All right, I got the second panel ready to go here. Now these are not that heavy, okay? But when you're trying to lift by yourself, one-handed, up on a ladder, yeah, it's not. That's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So, all right, let's get this one strapped on here and get going. So now it may look different when you get over there and hang it up, but this one came out, it looks like it came out a little greener, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell till you get them next to each other. But who cares, you know, nobody's gonna see it but the deer, right? So, all right, I gotta get a couple more 2x4s to anchor this one down, and then we'll go over there and get going. I would have to say that that went rather well. That only took me maybe 10 minutes to put that thing up there. So it takes me more time to hook up the boom and get it on the forks and that type of stuff and get the ropes tied onto it than to actually lift it up there. That went really easy. So hopefully we don't get a strong wind or nothing. I will get this measured up for the other two panels. And when I get that far, I don't need to show you how I made the panels. They're going to be made the same way. So when I get that far, I will share the lift with you, because I think that's kind of neat. But I do have to put a little disclaimer here. Do not try this at home. If you're not comfortable doing these types of things, and if you don't have the right equipment, you know, don't do it. It's not for you, you know. I think that looks really nice up there. That'll blend in really good. Let's take a walk up the trail here and see what that looks like from a distance. So my deer trail is right here, coming through from the other section over there. So they would come out in the field right about here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Yeah, that blends in really well. All right, let's get back to work. Got my little helper in the car with me today. She's driving now. Let's go down a little bit. Okay, that went pretty well. So let's go down and take a look at it once. Well, I think that looks pretty good. Actually, the two sides blend together pretty well. I'm gonna come and put right on that corner there, I'm gonna put a strip, you know, to cover that up, because it's kind of open right there now. Both corners, actually four corners. But that looks, I think that looks pretty nice sitting there. Blends in pretty good to them colors. All right guys, so we got this last panel up with the door and everything in it. I put a window in this door. Unlike the other blind over there, I did not put a window in that door, and I wish I would have. So I put a window in this door so that I can see behind me back here to this little food plot I just planted. But everything's in. It's like 90 degrees today, and I'm wringing wet, so that's why I'm not standing in front of the camera. It's not a good day for working. Should be sitting on a beach or sitting in a bar, one of the two. I measured up some of this trim, so I'm going to get that cut and get that painted, and the roof panels will just sit on top there. I put some 2x4s across, you know, for studs to screw the metal into. The one thing I wanted to point out is if you're building a blind like this, and I don't know if you noticed it on my other blind over there, but I need to come back and paint the inside here, the inside of the blind black. And that way the deer don't see that light through the windows, okay? So if that's all black in there, and then you're wearing black when you go out hunting, it helps you be concealed a lot more, you know? And the deer will look up there whether the window's open or closed and see black. So then, you know, when you're in there and with the window open, they'll still see black, you know? So you have to get that painted on the inside also. It only needs to be, you know, the top half basically, where they're looking up from down here and they can see that light in there. So that's going to be another day. I'm going to get that all done. I'm going to get the roof on, and we're going to end the video here. And I will share that in one of the next videos when it's all finished and I have the trim all painted and put on there. But I think it looks pretty good. I think it actually turned out really well. I'm not 100% happy with the way that door turned out, but it's good enough. That's the way it's going to be, you know. But it looks kind of cool there with the 3D, the branches shining on it, making it look like there's branches there and stuff. So it looks kind of neat. So we'll get the windows made, and it's going to take me a while yet to make those windows, get the trim all made up and stuff and put on there. And we'll get that all done, and then I'll share with you what it looks like in one of the next videos. So if you like these videos, give me a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. He's just waiting for his berries. Come here, buddy, I got berries for you. Come get your berries. Come and get your berries. Watch him come and eat the berries. Come, I got berries for you. Berries. Come get your berries. Yeah. Yep, they're in there. They're in there. Still not 100% sure.